The art of the paper, rose, a timeless weekend craft. There is a specific kind of magic found in the crafts passed down through generations. While some might see tissue paper flowers as old-fashioned, there is an undeniable charm in taking humble materials and turning them into something beautiful. This technique, rooted in patience and nostalgia, is a wonderful way to spend a quiet Saturday afternoon. If you are looking to recreate those childhood memories or simply want to try a classic method, here is how to craft a small, vibrant rose bouquet using tissue or crepe paper. Phase 1, preparing the petals. The foundation of a great tissue rose is the way you manipulate the paper to give it volume. Cut the strips. Start by cutting your tissue or crepe paper into long strips. For a standard rose, aim for a width of about 3 inches. The longer the strip, the fuller your rose will be. The initial fold. Fold the top edge of the strip down by about ½ an inch along the entire length. This creates a reinforced edge that becomes the ruffled top of your petals. Create the texture. Using your fingers, gently stretch the folded edge. If you are using crepe paper, it will expand easily. If you are using tissue paper, be very gentle to avoid tearing. This stretching creates the slight curve seen in real flower petals. Phase 2, shaping the rose. This is where the flower begins to take life. You will be using a rolling technique that mimics the layers of a blooming bud. The center bud. Take one end of your strip and fold it inward tightly several times to create a firm center. This is the heart of your rose. Roll and gather. Begin rolling the rest of the strip around that center. As you roll, use your other hand to slightly pinch and pleat the bottom of the paper. This gathering technique ensures the top of the flower fans out while the base stays narrow. Secure the base. Once you reach the end of the strip, use a small piece of double-sided tape to hold the end of the paper against the roll. Wrap a bit of tape around the very bottom of the flower to keep the entire structure from unraveling. Phase 3, adding color and detail. Instead of reaching for watercolors, which can make thin tissue paper soggy and fragile, we will use markers for precision and vibrancy. Edge tinting. Take a marker in a shade slightly darker than your paper. Gently run the side of the marker nib along the top edges of the petals. The ink will bleed slightly into the fibers, creating a natural gradient look. Deepening the core. Use the marker to add a few small dots or lines near the center of the rose. This adds depth and makes the flower look more realistic. The finishing touch. If you want a variegated look, you can use a second complementary color to lightly highlight the outer folds. Phase 4, assembly and presentation. Now that your individual roses are finished, it is time to bring them together into a bouquet for your pop-up card or a small vase. Reinforce.
Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today, I want to share something incredibly special with you. A little piece of my childhood that I've carried with me all these years. It's a memory tied to my grandma, her gentle hands, and a simple, beautiful craft that brought so much joy into our home. You see, my grandma had this wonderful way of folding things. Not just laundry, but she had a particular knack for creating these delicate, beautiful rose shapes out of fabric. I remember watching her, mesmerized as she transformed a simple square of cloth into something that looked so much like a real flower. It was like magic to me. I spent countless hours by her side, trying to mimic her movements. My small fingers fumbling at first, but eventually learning the rhythm, the gentle twists and turns that brought the petals to life. We'd make them for everything. Little bouquets for my mom's birthday, decorations for our kitchen table, even little gifts for neighbors. Each rose held a story, a moment shared, a whisper of love from my grandma. They weren't perfect, not like the ones you see in fancy craft stores, but they were made with so much heart. And that's what made them truly special. As I grew older and life got busier, these little fabric roses faded into the background. A sweet but distant memory. But recently, I've been seeing so many tutorials online, showing all sorts of amazing crafts and DIY projects. And it got me thinking. I thought about those afternoons with my grandma, the scent of her lavender sachets, the quiet hum of her sewing machine, and the sheer delight of creating something beautiful with my own hands. I realized that while there are countless tutorials out there, none of them quite captured that specific feeling, that personal connection to a childhood memory. So decided it was time to bring that memory back to life. I wanted to share my grandma's way of making these roses, not just as a craft, but as a way to connect with that feeling of simple, pure creation. It's a technique that's surprisingly easy to learn, and the results are so rewarding. You don't need any fancy equipment, just a few basic materials and a willingness to let your creativity bloom. I remember the first time I successfully made one on my own, without her direct guidance. It was a small, slightly lopsided rose, but I held it up with such pride. My grandma smiled, that warm, knowing smile, and told me it was beautiful. And in that moment, it truly was. It was a testament to her patience, her love, and the simple joy of learning something new. This isn't about achieving perfection. It's about the process, the tactile experience of working with fabric, the gentle unfolding of the petals. It's about the quiet satisfaction of seeing something beautiful emerge from something ordinary. It's about channeling that same sense of calm and focus that I felt sitting with my grandma. Her presence a comforting anchor. Think about it. In a world that often feels rushed and overwhelming, taking a moment to create something with your hands can be incredibly grounding. It's a form of mindfulness, a way to disconnect from the digital noise and reconnect with yourself. And when you create something that's not only beautiful but also holds a personal story, its value multiplies. These fabric roses can be used in so many ways. You can string them together to make a charming garland, attach them to a gift box for a personal touch, or even create a whole bouquet to brighten up a room. They're perfect for adding a vintage flair to your home decor, or for making handmade gifts that truly stand out. Imagine the delight on someone's face when they receive a gift adorned with a rose made with such care and intention. I've tried to recreate the exact steps my grandma used, the subtle nuances that made her roses unique. It's a technique that's been passed down, a little piece of her legacy that I'm so happy to share with you. It's a reminder that sometimes the most meaningful creations come from the simplest of inspirations, from the people who have loved and guided us. As you follow along, I encourage you to embrace the imperfections. Don't worry if your first few roses aren't exactly alike. Each one will have its own character, its own story. That's part of the charm. It's about the journey of learning and creating, not just the final product. And who knows, maybe this will spark your own cherished memories or inspire you to create new ones with loved ones. This is more than just a craft tutorial. It's an invitation to slow down, to connect with a cherished memory, and to experience the simple, profound joy of making something beautiful with your own hands. It's a way to honor the wisdom and love of those who came before us, and to bring a little bit of that warmth into our own lives. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey down memory lane. I truly hope you enjoy learning this technique as much as I've enjoyed sharing it. It's a little piece of my heart folded into a rose just for you. If you enjoyed this, please consider following along for more stories and creative adventures.